Let's set this up. Okay, Phil analyzed agents' buyer transactions on the MLS in his area. And here's what he found. KW had 165 agents, but look at this, William. They only had 173 buyers transactions. That's less than one per agent. Now this is through so far this year, so this is year to date. That's kind of atypical for a KW agency. Usually they're one of the industry leaders. Remax had 65 agents, 118 buyers transactions. Real Living Office, 30 agents, 46 buyers transactions. Cooperative, they're new, and he didn't say total. He just gave us the number here. So this is what happens. In the 4 offices, he's looking at 377 buyer transactions from 4 offices so far this year. Now, I can only assume Phil is a one-man shop. He didn't say. And we did meet him at the workshop briefly, but he had to go back home, leave early from the workshop to secure his property from the hurricane. So here's his questions. Okay, number 1 is, should I do direct mail to agents who have done 2 or more buyer transactions this year? All right, so 2 or more buyer transactions doesn't really qualify as a top producer. I have some mixed emotions about this. If I was to go do direct mail, I would go back. Let me go back one time. If these were the offices that I was going to market, okay, and I'm not saying these would be the offices I was going to market because they just don't have enough sales. So, but if these were right in Phil's neighborhood and he did all of the other research on the savvy about the criteria by which you select an office, then what happens is, if it was me, William, I would be sending direct mail to warm these people up anyway before I went in there. How about you?
Absolutely, yes.
So sending direct. So the question is, should I send it only to people who have done 2 or more? If I was going to go in here and work these offices, I would send it to everybody, and I'd run at least a 1 4-card campaign to let everybody understand my USPs and reviews if I had them, that kind of thing. So the answer is, if you chose these to physically go in, you're going to be direct mailing them anyway. Okay, so let's go back here. So let's look at question number 2. I have a top producer at KW, so should I start marketing KW card? What do you say, Coach?
Yes.
Not yes, but hell yes. Now, the only caveat here is be sure that this person is somebody that others like. Okay, they don't always have to be an influencer. It would be best if they were an influencer, but just make sure that they like this top producer. Oftentimes there's resentment and jealousy amongst the non-top producers about this person. I certainly experienced that when I did my first endorsement card campaign, and I learned the hard way to find out before you do it what others in the office think about this person that's going to endorse you. Because the lady I had, she was nice to us. Her husband were friends of ours. I inspected both their city house and their mountain house personally. And then what happens is, killer top producer. But what happens in the others in the office didn't like her for a variety of reasons. And when I got out there and saw her car after I'd done it and the campaign had flopped, her license plate was "ought to be me." So needless to say, she wasn't that popular in the office. So just make sure the top producer is liked by others. William, have you ever had that flop, or do you ask before you do it about the person's reputation with their colleagues?
I really didn't have a flop about it, but I did learn that by, speaking to the broker, just trying to get more involvement in the office and asking, who is it that I would, maybe want to talk to. And much to my surprise, it wasn't the top producer. It was a fellow that's been there forever and just highly respected. And, every word that falls out of his mouth is golden to everybody. So it was an eye-opener for me.
Right. I think the other way you can find out is ask the gatekeeper. What do you think Marty Jones' colleagues thinks about him? Do they like him? Is he an influencer in the office? And they say, well, I've heard mixed emotions, or they'll give you some kind of code or signal. Then I would ask the gatekeeper, who else in the office is an influencer? Is somebody who others really like and listen to? And then just hush and let them tell you. Okay, because then what happens is, once they tell you, if you work with that person, there's your endorsement candidate. Like William says, if you have a chance to talk to the broker about that. But I'm going to tell you, William, a lot of home inspectors are too nervous to talk to the broker. They look at these brokers and they go, ooh, I can't approach that person, which if you're in there marketing their office, sure you can. But I think they're a little bit nervous about it. When you were newer, William, were you nervous about talking with a broker, or you just went right in and stuck out your hand?
Well, I didn't go directly to the brokers. I kind of built relationships with the gatekeeper and some agents that were in there. I could see that being a little hesitant, but the brokers are probably more like us, entrepreneurial like us, than any of the agents. So if you've got more in common with anybody, it's probably going to be that broker about trying to run and build a business, especially if you're multi-inspector because they're dealing with multiple agents. And I have a really good relationship with one of the local brokers that he'll bounce HR stuff off of me. What would you do? What this happened to me? And so I mean, they are down. They put their pants on the same way we do, and they're usually more like us than. I take it. Some of the agents are all business wise, but few brokers typically are.
Right. And if you don't have a relationship with a broker, certainly leverage the relationship you have with one of your agents. Hey, I've never had an opportunity to meet your broker. Could you help me? Would you introduce me to him or her?
Let's do lunch.
And they'll say, sure.
Let's do lunch.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's even better, especially if you take them someplace nice that they might not go to lunch and pay for it by themselves.
They were
Okay.
turn down a good lunch.
Let's go to the varsity. What do you have? What do you have? Okay, it'll have to be better than the varsity. Okay, none of these offices seem to be doing enough transactions to help to keep me busy on their own. So should I direct mail to all of them? I'm going to tell you, I might look for some new offices. I don't know why you selected these, but if I was looking at the numbers, 3/4 of the year, and William, has 2016 been a super hot year? I think last month it was a little bit slower because there were some inventory shortages and because the average price of a home was kind of out of the reach of first-time home buyers and even some move-up buyers. But before that, have you just not had a smoking year?
It's just been crazy. Last month was awesome too. I mean, and this month's ahead of track. So is the market turning? And I'm hearing all this, yes. But and do I have competitors out the wazoo now? Yes. But and are they tapping into some, especially my Southern Indiana market? Yes. But my numbers are still
Off
still
the chart.
exceeding. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain at all.
So Phil, I know, is in Florida, and so the fact of the matter is the Florida market is hot too. Look at our mastermind group clients that are in Florida and our Accelerate Roundtable clients that are in Florida. They're tearing it up down there. So these offices seem to me to have hugely low numbers unless they're focusing mostly on listings, which certainly, some of that is true. But I'm not sure I wouldn't look around for some different offices. But with that said, we've already answered this question. If you're going to select those 4 offices as your target offices or tier 1 offices that you're going to be in there every week working the strategies, the relationship strategies, then you're going to be direct mailing them anyway to warm them up. Because when you use direct mail to warm them up and you get it and they get you, they understand who you are, what you're all about. And then when you go in, the conversation isn't about you, it's about them. So you introduce yourself to them, learn about them, and the conversation then is on them. So direct mail is the way to get them in. So yes, you would be direct mailing them.
And Ken, you can correct me on your thoughts if you are different, but I would say, if it's a financial situation, you're trying to keep a budget. I've seen, just looking at some of those numbers, there's a couple hundred agents basically in some of those offices. If you're not going to do that, I would definitely go in there and pick the top 10 off of those numbers you had, which was kind of weird. I mean, that was spread out. Usually you can easily identify that 20% that gets the 80% done. But
Right.
those numbers are kind of spread out. But I don't know if I still wouldn't go in there and say, okay, this one did 7 and that, these 3 did 8. Try to pick those top numbers and at least wise hit, a good 10 or 15 within each one of those offices. If you use that big endorsement campaign that we've got with that big 8.5 by 11 card, you're going to reach even further than beyond those that you directly send it to because they're going to share it.
Right.
So budget-wise, if you were tight, I would at least go that route versus, trying to hit them all. I would hit them all if I could.
Exactly. Well, I really think, William, and we're going to be talking about this because we're putting together a whole bunch of recession-proof your business strategies starting tomorrow with the monthly conference call that was rescheduled because of the workshop. But, I'm seeing less and less value of building relationships in the offices, and we'll be able to see starting in early 2017 as the market turns what's going to happen. But the top producers are the ones through thick and thin that will have lead generation strategies in place and therefore inspections for us to have. When we go back, and I'm not going to flip back through the slides, but the majority of the ones Phil laid out had less than 3 home inspections or 4 available all year because of sales. And we're 3/4 of the way through the year. Even the best ones had 9. And we're through the year. So none of them would qualify under our definition as a top producer. So am I going to spend money to market 168 agents that don't seem to be doing much on the sales side? Ken Compton wouldn't. So that's a big old issue there. That's because you talk about 168 agents in the Keller Williams office alone. When you do a 4-card campaign, that's not chump change.
Right.
And for what? Those kinds of transaction numbers. Now, I get Phil only needs 40 home inspections a month to keep himself full if he's a one-man shop. But if he was going to do that, I would just take the Keller Williams office because we know they're 100% commission earners, and I would dig deep in there and see if I couldn't do it. But I'd want to verify those numbers because let's just go back a minute, which is something we never do. But the top in the KW, 2 did 8, 1 did 7, 3 did 6. I mean, these aren't big numbers. Out of 173 buyers, usually Keller Williams attracts the best quality, best lead generating agents because they have to pay about a $20,000 franchise fee to be in there. So I don't get it. I don't. Even now on the RE/MAX office, 1 did 12, 1 did 8. Those are your bigger hitters, and certainly the one doing 12 already is a top producer. But William, some of the top producers that you have, I mean, how many sales are they doing a month?
Well, I mean, gosh, we got to be in our inner circle program takes at least 2 a month, and we've got some that far exceed that. So, I mean, there's some real shakers and movers out there. And 2, we're looking at these numbers that he's sharing, but, like this one that did 8 or whatever seems to be hot or the hottest. How many of those homes were homes that you would want to inspect too? It's like sometimes the heavy hitters are the ones that are moving the junk homes that you really don't want. So you need to know that too.
Right. But I don't know about the RE/MAX office or, cooperative or anything, but Keller Williams I generally attracts the highest, the best quality agents. When I say best quality, I mean those that have successful lead generation strategies. And even the newer agents, they go through Bold and they go through all these other sales trainings to get them up because the broker sees that agent has real potential. They have a large sphere of influence in the community and that kind of thing. So those are usually the ones that come to Keller Williams. And, Coach, we've seen that the agents that leave Keller Williams are the ones that are so successful that Keller Williams doesn't really have anything else to offer them.
That's true.
I mean, you have teams in your individuals and teams in your market we've discussed where that was the case.
Yes, absolutely.
So these others generally aspire to be a Keller Williams agent, have those lead gen strategies. So this just doesn't look to be a very successful office to me. And I guess you can't paint Keller Williams with a broad brush. I'm sure there's, more successful offices and less successful offices. That's certainly, think about B&I. There's some B&I groups that are fantastic, and in the same group in a different city, not so hot.
Right.
So I guess you can't just judge, a book by its cover. You got to get in there and do it. But I'm unimpressed by these numbers on all these guys. All right, let's go back to where we were.
Maybe that's a Canadian market thing we're just not aware of.
Okay, now Phil is in Florida. The first guy was in Mark was in Ontario. This is Phil in Florida.
Well, we know that's not in Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Florida, we know that Florida market's hot. I mean, we know it. Okay, so here's the next question. How many agents do I need to target to keep busy? All right, now that is not an easy question. And I'll tell you why, because if you take a balanced approach to marketing, okay, then what happens is you're going to say, I'm going to need X number of units, and I call home inspections units from this market segment. A market segment would be direct to the public. A market segment would be non-top producers. A market segment would be top producers. A market segment would be mortgage brokers / lenders. A market segment would be prior clients. A market segment would be B&I or networking referrals. So those are what market segments are. So when you say, I need 480 home inspections a year in your planning process, what you have to say is, how many units do I need from each market segment? Okay? So top producing agents is only one component. Non-top producing agents is only one component. So you have to set those goals at the beginning of the year. So let's say that you said, I need 100 units to come from non-top producers. Well, non-top producers, are, how many they give you, 2 or 3 a year? So what do you need, 200 of them occasionally referring you? All right. But now top producers, by definition, we say that that's 1 home inspection minimum a month. So if you need 100 out of there, you can just do the math very quickly on how many you would need to refer you. That's how you have to work this. William, other things, how you guys might do it differently than that.
No, I can't say anything different. I would say that knowing now what I didn't know then as a one-man shop, and if I was intending to stay a one-man shop, I would focus so hard on direct to the public and make happen, so that you're not reliant on all of these other things. If you can get it going on, because we have members that do it. I mean, they don't even mess with agents. Some of them do now that they built those relationships through, direct to the public. But why do we have to? It just kills me that I just had one this morning that an agent who's used this forever, and then she does a video with another inspector. I'm like, what the heck? It's just, you don't have to go through all that junk and rely on that if you've got it going on to the public.
That's true. And I think this year, I should say in 2017, going direct to the public is a huge investment in your business to make that happen for years and years. One of the things I love about working on the internet, you do the work once and you benefit over and over. So that's a big thing. But I would encourage you tremendously to focus on lenders. People are going to get a loan, all right? And what happens is the lenders will help you. And you don't have to deal with a bull crap with agents that you have to deal with. Now, William, couldn't we do the same advanced video strategies with lenders that you did with Bart Medlock?
Yes, and they would love it. And like you're alluding to, of course, lenders want to, get the loan to go through and all that, but they really don't care. If you kill the deal, they're happy because they don't want to invest in a piece of junk. So unlike the agent that's never going to use you again, that's not going to happen with a lender. They'll say thank you for, keeping us from making a bad loan.
Right. So to me, direct to the public lenders and then top producers. And I will tell you, we have a lot of top producers that used Southern Home Inspection Services that didn't throw us under the bus ever, and they were totally reasonable. And when the client would get a call back, they'd say, let's think this through logically. And, they were loyal to you because you truly added value to their team. But here's one of the things, and this is where the frustration occurs. If you can turn that from an acquaintance into a friend, so you guys are personal friends, then they're not off doing videos with other home inspectors. They're not, okay? So a big challenge that we have is how do we make that happen? And so we have to continue to work the strategies that we teach to make that happen, because I'm sure, William, that this top producer was an acquaintance. She probably hadn't come over to your house to have dinner, that kind of thing. Yeah, she was an acquaintance.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But she was a good referral source, and you served her loyally for a long time.
Exactly, and then just out of the blue, it's like, where the heck did it? Actually, we had talked about earlier in the year doing this exact same thing, and then all of a sudden I see her doing it with this guy, and I'm like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah, how come you hurt my feelings?
Yeah, you hurt my feelings. What's up with that? So go to the public, you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand your frustration because we would say, and William, you've been in the business a long time as well, and they leave the firm, whether they're top producer or non-top producer, and then all of a sudden they come back and you think, what the heck did you leave for and how come you're back?
Wow.
So that's kind of a thing. But so really focus on direct to the public lenders and top producers from here forward. Please do not invest a bunch of money into non-top producers. I think you're going to be sad if you were in the business in 2006, 2007, 2008 when the recession started to come on and the real estate market melted down. Tons of those referrals that you had from non-top producers went away because they were working at Walmart or someplace.
That's right.
Just got out of the real estate business. And I'm telling you guys, it is coming. A recession is coming in 2017, and Coach William and I are going to be focused the rest of the year on recession-proofing your business starting tomorrow with our monthly conference call. So please be on there live for that if you can. A couple more, Coach, to keep us rolling. Should I try to be the big fish in all 4 offices? I'm not sure those 4 offices are for you, Phil. I mean, but the fact of the matter is you should always try to be the big fish in the small pond. It works way better. Again, our goal as a marketer is to turn acquaintances into friends. And when you, as a one-man shop, get into a bunch of offices, you become a candy peddler. And William, I mean, honestly, that happens to big multi-inspector firms. I mean, when you were running the candy route and visiting the offices, it was too hard, wasn't it? You just had too many things on your plate.
Yeah, you don't get to spend the quality time in there to build those relationships. And how important is that? I've focused Kayla directly into our new market, and I just pulled back all of our marketing where we've been saturated for many, many years. And so we've had no presence there in the last couple months, and I'm feeling the effects of that. So we're bringing Kayla's actually the girl that's been helping her quite a bit. Now we're going to put her out there and get our face back in that market on this side of the river because I've got too many competitors in there. Just they're not inspecting because they're in the offices every day, which helps them grab that little piece, this little piece, the first thing you know. So you've got to be able to spend the time. I try to tell Kayla all the time, I don't have an investment in Hershey's chocolate. That ain't what this is about. We have got to, as we do this Indiana market, just as we were putting that plan together, it's like, yeah, you're going to run this candy, but it's not about running that candy. It's about having a lunch set up like we talked a while ago to one of our top producers and invite the broker or another colleague in there that does numbers, and let's have lunch with them and try to build those relationships and get that work other than just dropping off candy and running.
Kayla, since she's taken over the marketing, she's got all kinds of activities and events going in there. She's integrated herself into those offices, and she's become part of the team. They look forward to seeing her. She builds personal friends. If you guys know her, she's a super personable lady, really nice, what's not to like, and she understands these strategies of making these acquaintances into friends. And that has really helped certainly home inspections exceed their goals. Now, that is only one strategy of a multi-pronged approach in which they take, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to do real estate office marketing and you're a one-man shop and you have too many offices, what you do is what Coach William just described. You run in, you put in the flyers or whatever marketing materials you have, you fill the candy house, maybe you see and talk to somebody, maybe you don't, but that's not what this is about. So the smaller the number of offices that you have, the right offices, the greater opportunity you have to spend time in there and develop those personal relationships. And that's what your job is as a relationship marketer. Now, there's a video, and Ken L will get it on the Savvy site underneath this Q&A section, and it's called "The Best Relationship Marketer I Know," and it's Sharon Wolf-Furman, and she is one of the owners of a home inspection company in Arizona. And I'm sure that I haven't seen their end of the year numbers yet, but they'll be the same size as Preston or so. 2.6 to $3 million in sales, multiple inspectors, 17, 20 inspectors. And what happens, their primary marketing strategy is relationship marketing. And Sharon does it. She gets on the board of directors for these real estate associations and other things and serves in the capacity there and builds tremendous relationships. And you should listen to that interview on the Savvy site 2 or 3 times. It's chock full of insights on how she does it. And I will tell you, folks, she is one of the most sophisticated relationship marketers I have ever met. Her job is to turn you into her best friend. And she does it, and the ladies love her, and the guys too. And that's what you aspire to. So check out that article. We'll put the link under this video. Check out the article and listen to it a time or two. I know, Coach William, you've listened to it, and you certainly know Sharon personally. And you know what a dynamic marketer she is.
You bet. A lot of the golden nuggets we use come from.
That's right. She is awesome. Okay, let's look on here. Ken, can you share more details how you built a big business using direct mail? Sure. 2 seconds. First story was, in 1996, I did about 6 months worth of market research about what real estate agents liked and didn't like about home inspectors, and that allowed me to develop effective direct mail. The things they liked, we emphasized we did it. The things they didn't like, we told them we didn't do it. Okay, and so what happens is we had a direct mail center. We had 3 ladies that worked in there, and they sent out thousands and thousands of pieces of direct mail. Send out cards wasn't even invented at the time, and we used it the old-fashioned way. And we used all the tricks that we did. We had rubber stamps that said, dated material. We had all those tricks that we used from Dan Kennedy, who taught them to me as part of his coaching group. So we used direct mail to do it. Today we have a lot better ways. We didn't really use much lumpy mail. We started later on, but we didn't start out first year with it. And we did $567,000 and some change first year, all direct mail. I never stepped foot in a real estate office in year 1. But what we learned was, and what William just said to you a minute ago, was that an agent that was using us 2, 3, 4 times stopped using us and went with someone else. And because the next handsome face that walked into the office got our business. Because real estate agents are somewhat fickle. Do you know what I mean? Come on, man. We've been doing a great job for you. We're a compliment to your sales process. Why would you go with this bonehead you never tried? So that's where we started developing the relationship marketing strategies. I said, if we're going to keep our business and continue to grow, we are going to have to turn these acquaintances into friends. And direct mail will make you some great acquaintances. But if your direct mail message is effective, and we call that a message to market match, then what happens is you will get business. So direct mail is really a good thing, but again, there was nothing like send out cards. And I can't tell you how many thousands of pieces of direct mail that we sent. I will tell you, before Beth and I sold Southern Home Inspection Services, but 2 years before that, we had sent 15,000 pieces one year and 13,000 pieces the year before we sold. So the fact of the matter is, direct mail continued to be a giant part of our business, and that was thank you cards and lead generation cards and congratulations cards and those types of things. So every business that we have was direct mail. I don't know how many of you on this call joined the Savvy Inspector because of a piece of direct mail that we sent you. How about the pink postcard, Williams? Did you see that?
Yeah, I've talked to several members that got the pink card.
So direct mail, we've always done it, and we'll continue to do it. We do it today. Each one of you should receive a birthday card from the Savvy Inspector. Every time you have a birthday, our team makes sure that you get a birthday card, and that's direct mail. We want you to know that we're there to celebrate your great day with you. So we found out what the real estate agents loved and what they hated, and we played on those. And that's the cards that we have today on the Send Out Cards catalog. Coach William, you're using them effectively, and so did we.
Yeah, we use them in several different ways. And, you know, and I'm a tightwad, so it's like once you once you get into that market, into that real estate office, and you can get behind that gatekeeper, we pretty much eliminated, other than specific strategies, you know, we went to mailbox stuffers. So it's basically taking the direct mail piece and you personally being able to deposit that right into the mailbox. So you save the stamp and the envelope and all that. You're in the office anyway if you're filling up a candy house, so why not deliver the mail?
Right. And you guys are going to learn, if you haven't suffered in a recession, you know, you're going to get an eye-opener. I have no idea how severe the recession will be. You know, we have them every 10 or 12 years. It's cyclical. It's the way the business works. But last time it was led by the real estate industry because of subprime mortgages and other issues associated with subprime mortgages. But this year it doesn't look like it's going to be, or this time it doesn't look like it's going to be led in the real estate industry. So I have no idea, no crystal ball at Ken's house, on how it's going to play out. But the fact of the matter is, direct mail sent to top producers gets your best sales message in front of people who can refer you business in a recession or not. Okay, so if you're not focused on top producer marketing right now, shame on you. I'm going to tell you, you know, at the Savvy Inspector, we made more multi-inspector and firms during the recession than we did before. You know why? 40% of home inspectors dropped out of the market, which presented a tremendous opportunity to those who were left. All right, so I can't share with you enough how important direct mail and top producers are. I would be running direct mail campaigns to mortgage brokers. So, you know, let them know who you are, because lenders, the ones like non-top producer lenders, are going to go out of business too, and the top producer lenders are going to remain in the business. And you need to find out who's who, and if you can access the Mortgage Brokers Association in your community or the next big town over, you can learn that. So extend your reach with direct mail. That's what this is about. You can get tons of eyes on your best sales material. Where if you walk in the office and nobody's there, it's hard to give your best sales pitch.